Janelle Monae is a musician and actress who stars in Homecoming for its second season on Amazon Prime. Now, when we first meet your character, she's waking up in a boat with no memory at all of who she is or how she got there. What did you think of that story and especially that introduction when you first read it?
Ooh, I was like, this is a hell of a way. This is a hell of a way to start season 2. I really did a lot of research around what it meant to lose your memory, short-term memory loss, amnesia, long-term memory loss. I watched a lot of films to prepare for that opening, like Memento or the Jason Bourne identity films, Nicole Kidman's Before I Go to Sleep. And, I knew that coming off of season 1, which was an incredible season, and season 2, we had to make an even bigger splash. So it was super important that it felt very natural and that it was layered and it was nuanced, and that it was able to pull you in as this person goes on a journey to self-discovery and uncovering her identity and what has happened to her.
And the journey of self-discovery is especially interesting when, so much of the memory is gone that even your identity and your personality are kind of mysteries to the character. As an actor, how do you find that core of a person, who they are, when they don't know so much of who they are?
Well, I create story and backstory. I create backstory for all of the characters I've played, and Jackie is super complicated. She's a chameleon. So when you're coming into Jackie's life post memory loss, it was important to understand what her objective was. What was she trying to get? What was her motivation? And what was she looking for? And then as a complete human, throughout the series, you'll be able to see her in her chameleon form. I don't want to give away too much for those who haven't watched it. Go watch it. But yeah, what makes her do the things that she does? Because some of the things that Jackie does, Alex does, are not things that I necessarily would do or choices I would make. But as I was creating her backstory and as I was, watching certain archetypes that she reminded me of, there's trauma, that these folks have dealt with, or the need to be accepted, or how driven they are because of how people have treated them in the past, really do inform their decision making. So it's every actor is different, but for me, I like to create a backstory and world around why she does what she does, what makes her tick. Yeah, what was the origin of it?
And since it's a mystery and we're learning what happened to her and who she is as it goes along, did you know the whole story arc, how it would unfold when you signed on, or did you have that sort of all mapped out for you so you knew kind of what you were getting into?
Yes, one of the things that I love is pre-production. I love talking to the director of season 2. He directed all episodes, Kyle Patrick Alvarez, who is just, such a joy to work with, and us having discussions. And, I don't like to overwhelm myself with too much information at once. So I kind of break things down, and take my time. But that pre-production is so important because that's when you spend the time developing the character and doing the what ifs and whys, and does this make sense? Or how about we say it like this? And I just take it, piece by piece, and threading and weaving together, a complete arc and story and file, for my person.
I would like to get into some aspects of the plot that might be a bit spoilery, so I want people to know that, so they can pause this as they're watching it and go watch Homecoming season 2 and then come back right after. We eventually sort of get that backstory of Jackie Alex, who she is. It's almost like who she woke up to be is a very different person from this much more kind of cunning person who she was in when she had her memory. It's kind of like playing dual roles in a sense, even though it's the same person. So did you try and find some kind of like commonality between those two versions of her that kind of make her tick at both, to kind of connect who she was to who she becomes?
Yeah, you see hints of Alex and Jackie, for sure. And like her instincts, and the choices that she makes, even when she's disoriented and vulnerable and trying to figure out who did this to her, why can't she remember things. There's still a sense of leadership and like strength and fight that she has. And I think you get an opportunity to understand, like, at her core, this is just who she is. Put her in any situation and she's going to come out, she's going to win. She is going to win. It may be questionable how she does it, but she's not going to give up until she gets what she needs and what she wants.
It also feels like, once she's taken out of that world that she's been in for so long and losing the memory, she's also kind of resetting her morality in a sense, because this world that she's investigating suddenly realizes what part of it she was in beforehand. It's like when you strip away all that she's learned in the world that she was in, she kind of comes back to a sense of right and wrong in a way. Was that something that you kind of sensed about her and brought to her?
Yeah, I think it really does have something to say about, if given an opportunity to start over, do you want to return back to your old life, or do you want to move forward in a way that is healthier, that is, move forward in a way that you get to be a better version of yourself if given an opportunity. And I ask myself that all the time, especially when I was working on this show, is like, if I lost my memory, would I want to like piece together my old life and still be there, or would I just want to completely start over and start fresh, especially after giving the information and Jackie giving that information about who she was and what she had done and what those around her had done. I think it leaves you with, okay, what does she choose? As open as she is to redemption, they're still like, okay, well, what does that look like? We don't know. And that's what I love about this show, is that it leaves us questioning not only the characters, but ourselves in return.
You're working a lot in the series alongside Hong Chow as this woman in Jackie's life that, she thinks she has one relationship with this person and she actually has a very different one. So it's kind of like playing two relationships between the two of you actors. What was it like sort of developing those very different dynamics?
Well, Hong is such an incredible actor, and it was so sweet to work with her. I was a fan of her season 1 Homecoming and just like the project she's done. And we got an opportunity to talk a lot about our characters and, what it means for these two women to come together and sort of mastermind, in this patriarchal world and society. And I love just visually seeing us on screen and visually seeing the conversations, that we are having. And I think that with her character, you know, and my character, we just complement each other very well. There are things that I need from her, you know, that I don't have, and there are things that she needs from me that she doesn't possess. And it's quite a roller coaster, our relationship.
And you also get to work with a lot with Stephan James, who was in the first season of Homecoming as well. And again, there's a kind of duality in that relationship where, you know, you're kind of playing, you know, your character's playing it on one level and things are actually happening on another level of her kind of motivations, and even his motivations at times. So it was like working with that kind of push and pull dynamic with him.
Working with Stephan James was an honor. You know, I was a fan of how he played Walter first season and all the work he's done to date. And quite frankly, he's one of the best actors out working. And I feel like he should get more credit. We had some very intense scenes, very intense scenes. And, you know, being able to sharpen my sword with him as an actor and just like talk through the characters and do, you know, the same that Hung and I did was like what ifs and would they do that, or I feel like this sounds better, was just great because I love how his mind is thinking. He's very determined this season. He's, you know, being even more set on getting answers. And, you know, depending on where you sit in the story, that could pose trouble, you know, that could cause trouble. That could cause trouble to other folks' lives. It could be a domino effect. So, you know, our little cat and mouse was really so cool to watch, and sometimes just very like intense to watch the scenes we did.
And I also want to discuss the ending. So if anyone really doesn't want any spoilers, yeah, you should pause again and go see that and come back here. Stephan James's character, he comes back to this homecoming facility and he kind of poisons everyone with the extract that he was treated with, and sort of, you know, this en masse memory wipe. And what's interesting about that is that when Alex sees Audrey, played by Hong Chow, about to drink it, she lets her, and you know, it's almost like she's seeing who she was and who she has become and thinking maybe you need that reset button too, in a sense. Did you think about it that way, or what did you think about that decision that Alex made?
I guess you could think about it that way. You could think about it as like, you know, maybe this is a good thing for her, or you could be like, this is revenge, you know? You got me in the middle of all of this. And this is what you need. I love the ending. For me, I was like, wow, because I didn't get an opportunity to read it when I signed on, and I said yes. I hadn't read the final episode. I just loved, you know, episodes 1 through 6, and once I finally did get episode 7, I was like, wow, this ending is bananas. Like, wow, you know, in a Jim Jones. I don't want to bring that in, you know, into it, because I know there were different things happening, but it was dark, but at the same time it was you know, it just left you with thinking about how karma works, and when you're abusing your power, or when folks are trying to manipulate people, this is a metaphor for things that could come. You know, there could really be an uprising, and there are uprisings that are happening with folks who abuse their power and manipulate the people. And I hope that, you know, Audrey and Jackie, Alex are able to, because we don't know, you know, we don't know what's next for them, but the hope is that they assess their past lives and really figure out, you know, what kind of people they want to be.
And yeah, having worked in films and now on series television, is there, you know, did it feel like a very different experience, kind of doing this kind of serialized television story versus the film work you've done?
Yeah, this was my first time doing TV, and I was super excited about it, nervous about it too, because, you know, to be able to lead a television show, especially as like a Black creative, during these times, you know, we don't really get those opportunities. And then coming off the heels of Julia Roberts, who did season 1, you know, I just felt some pressure. But knowing that this character, you know, once I understood who she was and what she was trying to say, it was just exciting. And I think with TV, the schedule's a little different, like how we shoot things. I'll just speak about this particular production. We carved in time for pre-production. You know, my schedule was kind of like more 9 to 5 than like anything that I had done in the past where you're working. We didn't have a whole lot of night shoots, and the way we shot things, I was able to kind of stay in character for Jackie and stay in character for Alex. And, you know, it wasn't a lot of back and forth. It kind of felt like we were shooting it like, you know, close to chronological order and close to the episodes as possible. So there was definitely a difference there. Yeah.
Well, I want to congratulate you on the show, and you know, which is streaming now on Amazon Prime. And thank you so much for talking to me. And I actually just wanted to say that as we're recording this, we're coming close to the 4th of July. Your song "Americans" from your Dirty Computer album is one that I continually revisit on the 4th of July, and this year especially, it feels like one that everyone should kind of have on a loop this weekend, especially. So I wanted to thank you for that as well.
Thank you so much. That's so, you know, kind of you. I remember writing that song. That was one of the songs and the lyrics that came to me very fast. In like 2 days, I recorded it. So that means a lot to know. That means a lot to me to know that the lyrics mean something to you, and the song itself. Use it, put it on repeat, enjoy it, and yes, thank you for your time, and thank you for watching Homecoming. I really appreciate it. I'm a big fan of your show too. So,
thank you very much.